Sustainability in retail, I believe, is not quite there yet.
I'm just getting flashbacks to when we changed our kitchen and bathroom and everything over lockdown sort of thing a few years ago, and yeah, we had a lot of stuff left.
People genuinely don't know how to progress with that.
Yeah.
And, we say they haven't got the time, but they haven't got the knowledge either, and it becomes quite scary.
You got into the probably homes of so many million UK and worldwide listeners some time ago on Dragon's Den. What really happened maybe when the camera stopped rolling?
There's lots that go on after the camera is rolled, but there's also an awful lot that goes on before you even get there.
Hi everyone, it's Richard Hill here. Welcome back to the Ecom at One podcast. Today, I'm joined by Helen Lord, founder of Rehome, a marketplace built around helping homeowners and businesses give kitchens, bedrooms and bathrooms and other interiors a second life rather than seeing them go to waste. In this episode, we talk about what it really takes to make sustainability work in retail, how Helen has built trust in a high-value resale category, and why making reuse easier for both buyers and sellers is a much bigger challenge than it might look from the outside. We also get into the Rehome journey, what happened after Dragon's Den, the role partnerships play in growing the business, and some of the lessons Helen has learned around brand, marketplaces, and technology along the way. What I like about this conversation is that it's honest. It's not sustainability as a buzzword, it's a grounded look at what it takes to build a business that's commercially viable, operationally sound, and still rooted in doing something genuinely better. So if you're interested in e-commerce marketplaces, sustainability, or founder-led growth, this episode is well worth a listen. Now, do me one quick favor. Hit the subscribe or follow button wherever you're listening so you never miss an episode. Let's dive in.
Hi Helen, how are you doing?
I'm great, thanks. Good to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. It looks very sunny where you are in the world.
Yeah, don't hold your breath. We're in the northwest, so it's known for being a bit grey in these parts.
So it could be hailstone and snow before we finish the episode.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for coming on the show. Really looking forward to getting stuck in. So a lot of brands talk about sustainability, but I know Rehome is a business that's built on it. What actually makes sustainability sell rather than just sound good, would you say?
Okay, I mean, I will start with probably what is quite a controversial answer for you. So sustainability in retail, I believe, is not quite there yet. I believe, and we'll get into the bones of this later in terms of consumer research and positioning, but it's still a nice to have. It's still an add-on. It's not necessarily a key driver, especially when we look at higher value purchasing. Sustainability, if you think about it with the car industry, is linked to cost saving, and it's the cost saving they tend to drive more than the environmental aspect. So the purchasing decision is normally made in a twofold position, with sustainability coming as an add-on at the end, which is disappointing. But for a business like ours, you have to keep your core vision and mission. And as you know, we're a marketplace, so we're a B2B2C marketplace, which means sustainability is perhaps more crucial and important with regards to our B2B relationships than it is with our B2C relationships. So it's a fine balance for Rehome.
Yeah, isn't it just? So we'll get into that a little bit more
it's a juicy one.
As we go. We'll break that down for sure. So obviously, I think you got into the probably homes of so many million UK and worldwide listeners some time ago on Dragon's Den. So what was that like? What was it? What really happened maybe when the camera stopped rolling? And I know obviously Deborah invested. How's that gone?
Oh, well, there's lots to say about that because I did go into it kicking and screaming. I've got to say, I'm not a natural exhibitionist. And it's a very unnatural situation to be in. There's lots that go on after the camera is rolled, but there's also an awful lot that goes on before you even get there. So you've got about 1% chance of actually being shown on the TV when you
Yeah.
look at all the different stages. So we were
Yeah.
approached in January 25. And that due diligence process with the BBC is very, very centred on, are your marketing claims correct? Can you use this image, that image? Your whole website is pulled apart. All the claims you make are pulled apart, and you have to evidence all of them. So that is an awful lot of work.
So this is before you're on the show. Yeah.
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 So
Yeah.
the due diligence for the BBC is forensic. Then you have to go through the pain of screen tests, which are hilarious and really unnatural. And
Yeah.
throughout this entire process, no promises are made, and you only find out about, well, they say 2 weeks before the show is recorded, but we've got 4 weeks notice, I think, that you're going to be on the show. So you're doing it in the hope that you're going to get there for the entirety of that time. We got notice, but in between all of this, our son had a wedding booked in Italy. So the day before we were recording, we were traveling back from Italy. So we were practicing our pitch, walking around the swimming pool and getting strange looks off the Italians. So that was a complete whirlwind. The show itself is heavily edited. So I think I timed it, and they gave us about 10 minutes of screen time on Dragon's Den. But we were actually in the den recording in front of the dragons for 2.5 hours. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So afterwards, you asked what happened afterwards. So there are lots of things that happen afterwards. You have to go back in and do some of the B-roll filming. But we were very fortunate in that Deborah was quite excited. So she actually came out of recording to meet with us, had a lovely chat with her. She's a very generous individual and very, very warm, instantly likable and friendly. So we had a lovely chat with her, but then the hard work really started after that. So even though you've gone through your due diligence with the BBC, it's very different then. So it's a forensic, big, deep dive into business, and that's still ongoing. So we've had a number of conversations with her. She's very busy, and her commitment to the investments she takes very seriously, and she does them one at a time.
Yeah.
So it's a watch this space, really.
Yeah.
I
Right.
emailed her recently, and we've got some ideas on the table to help.
Yeah.
The main thing that Deborah is interested in is not necessarily the investment with us. She loves it and loves what we do, and is very keen to put her name to the fact that she supports Rehome and what Rehome is trying to achieve from a sustainability perspective. So it's a very authentic arrangement that it looks like it's going to be moving forward. A friend of Rehome, shall we say?
Yeah, that's a very exciting, genuine, authentic sort of somebody that you want involved, isn't it? Which is great. So we'll watch this space. We'll get you back on in a few months' time, have an update on that.
I mean, it is a, I might sound a bit cheesy here, but authenticity. And we'll talk about brand later. I know we will, but I just want to say that as individuals, myself and Phil, who founded the business, we have done it from an authentic position. Our journey is about us buying a pre-owned kitchen, realizing that there's a lot of money to be saved here, but also it's a good environmental decision too, and seeing that opportunity to help homeowners. So we have maintains that level of authenticity, not just with regards to our own journey, but trying to support people to do the right thing in the right way, but also to commercially benefit. And that's very strong. That's within our DNA.
That's brilliant. So I think, I'm thinking about the last maybe 4 or 5 years, we've been going through different, so I say, renovations and in our house, and a little bit of rehoming, I guess, is what we've been doing as well. And I wish I'd met you a little bit sooner, to be fair. But something that strikes me is you've got obviously we're not buying a pair of socks online. We're buying something that's quite substantial. We're buying a pre-owned. Obviously, you've got various products now, but say for example, a pre-owned kitchen. It's not a small decision. It's not something people are used to going to maybe half a dozen or so showrooms and so forth in a traditional way. How have you overcome some of those barriers and created confidence in this sort of high-end second-hand market, rehoming market?
We could talk about that for a very long time, but I will try and not be a stuck record throughout the entirety of this conversation. So if I become repetitive, please let me know.
You're fine.
Fundamentally, our journey when we looked for a pre-owned kitchen, it was a suck your finger and stick it in the air, because the resale market is driven by the buyer and the seller normally in the standard marketplace, without expertise stuck in the middle to support those buyers and sellers. And we identified this as a nuance, but something that was absolutely vital to push a sustainable approach to renovation, i.e. people need help. People who are selling, people who are renovating their home, and they look at their kitchen and think, this actually, I feel a bit guilty about this. If it was a load of CDs, for instance, you'd stick them in a box and stick them in the loft, wouldn't you? Because they cost you a lot of money when you bought them.
You've been in my loft.
However, with a kitchen, you can't do that. So this is why, regrettably, a lot of product, be it kitchens, bedrooms, bathrooms, etc., end up in the loft, because people genuinely don't know how to progress with that. And, we say they haven't got the time, but they haven't got the knowledge either, and it becomes quite scary. Likewise, the purchasers, in a lot of the traditional marketplace scenarios, it's a lucky dip at best, and if the seller doesn't know what information you need and doesn't understand the importance perhaps of some of the damage, whether it's real damage, whether it's something that can be solved. So, that's where Rehome was born, really, in this understanding that the sustainability, true sustainability for you and me living in our homes, we need a bit of help. It's not just putting the green bin out on a Thursday. it's a commitment. And that's how we've done it. So building trust. And I know we'll go into how we market Rehome, but at the end of the day, trust and support, and ensuring everybody gets consistency of information, if they're going to make a purchase, is how we've done it in a short form.
So a real sort of education help piece where I'm just getting flashbacks to when we changed our kitchen and bathroom and everything over lockdown sort of thing a few years ago, and we had a lot of stuff left. It's like what to do with it, didn't know, didn't really, I think we did. Or I won't probably list exactly what we did exactly on the podcast, but we it's like you just don't know, because it's not something you do very often as a consumer. Changing your bathroom, changing your kitchen in this instance, it's like a once, twice in a lifetime. What to do, how to do the right thing.
It's hard to be objective when you've owned the product for a number of years, and unfortunately, it is human nature and superlatives exist. So, you can make something sound absolutely outstanding, but if you are creative with superlatives, so we ban superlatives in the office. You're not allowed to use them because superlatives set an expectation. So you'll see when you look at our website, we are very factually driven, and
Yeah.
we use plain language that people can understand, and we also offer solutions. So it's about, if I was just going to give you a very short answer to that question, it's all about building confidence and being transparent. And unfortunately, the standard route to market for most pre-owned items doesn't have that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you for that. I think what I'm quite intrigued about is, I think, we talked to a few marketplaces. Well, I have over the years, and, with a lot of different struggles around. Obviously, you've got both sides, haven't you? Obviously, you're trying to get people to list their products.
Yeah.
But then obviously, ultimately, you've then got to sell those products for those customers of yours.
Yeah.
What's the sort of, how do you approach that balance because that must be really tricky.
It is tricky. And you can add to this dilemma that I had never bought a kitchen in my life. And I fell into this, but I think this is where the fairy dust comes from, because my background is recruitment, and recruitment is really, really similar. If you think about it, you've got a company wanting to find somebody, you've got a person who's wanting a career, an income, and an opportunity, and you have the inanimate object, which is the job. So it's a three-way dilemma. Yeah. Now, I applied all the principles from my understanding of the needs in the recruitment world into how we designed this marketplace and operationally how we support it. And I believe that has made it what it is, in that there's an understanding that you need a different voice for different people, and different people need different things. However, I will caveat that by saying the emphasis on the website is buyer-led. So within the marketplace itself, it's buyer-led. But outside of the marketplace, we can offer the necessary support, guidance, and comfort to a seller. It's not the job of the marketplace is to sell, and the magic is providing that intermediary between the two and understanding what each party needs. And I believe that's where Rehome excels.
Yeah. So I think, take note, listeners. Look at what Rehome are doing. I think with this sort of, it's quite a when I think about the probably 255 episodes of podcasts we've done here on our two podcasts, it's a very sort of unique business that you've got. Very, maybe I can think of one other company that I know we've spoken to on the podcast, but very different industries, to be fair. Very, very unique. And I think, is there anything maybe you could share practically from getting, as I would refer to it, getting people to list their products? How is there anything practical day to day marketing wise, or how is there a specific little nugget you can maybe share of how some of these, I'm just thinking as a, if I was redoing my house right now, I'm not doing that again. We've just come out of about a 2-year renovation, but and we're about to list. We're about to, we've got our old kitchen now, and we're deciding what to do. How are you getting in the minds of people like me?
Okay.
What sort of things are you doing? Just to get a bit of a specifics, maybe, if you don't mind sharing, maybe some of the things you're doing.
Yeah. No. So, what I will say before I get into it is we probably reject about 70% of the product that is sent to us. So that again is another change in the standard marketplace. So, I mean, I can use the posh word. I can say we curate. but actually we don't curate. What we do is we ensure quality and condition, and that's different. That's different. And when we do reject somebody, we always give them advice on how to ensure they do the best listings. So we do that naturally anyway. So the first thing that's important for a marketplace is quality of imagery. Clean up before you take a picture. Make it look as best you can. Clear off all your surfaces. Think about, would I buy this? Yeah. So we're not saying edit your images or anything like that. Natural, lived in is absolutely fine, but do wash up, empty the dishwasher, and take extensive photography. That photography should also include close-up pictures, be a quality for people can zoom in, and also is transparent in terms of any damage. So if there's a piece of damage or a scratch, put a finger against it as a point of size reference and take a photograph. Use a ruler, use a 1p piece, if they still exist, a pen, anything. So, a bit like the old Kirby cleaner advertising. If you take a picture of a bed bug and it fills a whole A4 sheet, it looks like it's from a horror movie, doesn't it? So get your scale right, and then it's about measuring. So give people the measurements they need. It's really common sense. You're going to want to know how wide something is, how high something is, how deep something is, and make that really clear. Don't use superlatives, as I've said. Be factual. If there is a brand, put that on. And if there is a price that you originally paid for it, that helps a purchaser position the value of the price you're selling it at. And that, I believe, is absolutely crucial, because here's a t-shirt, I want £5 for it. If you bought it from Primark and it was £9.99, or you bought it from Armani and it was £200, there's a big difference, isn't there?
Yeah.
So that's some simple stuff, but most marketplaces have a template which helps guide you. They do.
Yeah.
And the more information you put on that template, the more success you will have. And answer any questions that somebody gives you. Answer them really quickly. Don't wait 3 days and respond, because they cool off.
Yeah. So I'm convinced, do a very, very thorough job of listing. But how am I finding as a consumer, how am I finding Rehome? How would I know what? So what I'm sort of asking is, what is probably some of the best marketing channels that you've got? What's working well for you to market Rehome so people are listing?
Okay. So the beauty of Rehome is everything I've just described to you, for creating a listing BD for you. So that makes it really, really simple. You just open your door, let us in, and we'll do the whole lot for you. In terms of marketing Rehome, I am 15 years into this journey. 15 years. And what I will say to you is there's no magic wand here.
Yeah.
So word of mouth is the strongest and the cheapest to do. As soon as you go into the realms of public awareness, the cost is exponential, and it's basically what you want to pay. So we've spent a lot of time developing our Instagram account. I kind of see Instagram as a foyer of a posh hotel. It's there to invite you in. It's there to make you feel at home. And it's also there to show you what's possible. What's possible from if you stayed at this hotel. Whether you choose to stay there or not will be how good a job that reception does and whether it's right for you or not. Yeah. So Instagram is my love. We've got about 168,000 followers on that, and quite a good little community going. The rest of it is straight digital, as everybody does your PMAX, your SEO. I'm doing a lot of work at the moment on AEO, So
Yeah.
understanding how question-based
Yeah.
optimization and answer-based optimization is working.
Yeah.
So that's become really important. But from a B2B perspective, we have something that's really unique in that we set up a referral gateway. So if you go into your local kitchen company, they may, if you've done a good enough job, offer you Rehome for your pre-owned kitchen when you're
Yeah. I
buying
love
a
it.
new one. Now
Yeah.
that has huge ramifications, and it reaches up to manufacturers who have now begun this ESG sustainability and waste reporting situation that I've been writing
Yeah.
about in contributing to white papers. So we're on the precipice of something very new, but it's not
Yeah.
a new concept because the car industry have been doing it for years.
Yeah, no, I'm liking that a lot. So working with partners that are obviously on a ideally similar journey around the ESG, the sustainability, like it's a bit like, I think it's like I mean, there's so many industries, isn't there? But when you go and get your tires changed, ultimately, they slightly different, that they should offer to take your old tires off you, and then obviously they get used in the right way rather than not getting them taken off you, and they maybe end up somewhere they shouldn't, and not getting used. But see, working with partners, which is something we talk about a lot on the podcast, to build, so you're building that network of partners that are in this instance, kitchen companies maybe, that are then they're getting inquiries for new kitchens, but obviously those consumers have got kitchens they're replacing. And those partners are then offering, well, did you know Rehome do this, this, and this? Oh, okay. Yeah, I like that a lot. So any tips around sort of building that partner network then? Because obviously that's very, very powerful. That's like a little bit of secret sauce there, I think, building
It
that.
is. It
Yeah.
is.
Or if you want to share maybe any ways to sort of really build that partner network, obviously getting a handful of partners but is okay, but building maybe a fairly large partner network now, as you have, is there any tips you give to some of the listeners that are maybe looking to build partner networks across their businesses?
My biggest tip to all of this is patience, resilience, and consistency. Because changing behavior is so difficult, and to be in the forefront of a business's mind as an added service is tantamount to virtually impossible. So it's constant henpecking is technically the only way to do it, but we are trying to do it. We are trying to do it in a more professional and softer way. So giving them the right assets, but also continuing to build awareness for the public. So they understand there's a value in pre-owned kitchens, bedrooms and bathrooms. And I want you, Richard, when you next develop something in your house, to go in and say, what are your reuse options?
Yeah.
And then that'll prompt them to go, oh yeah, that woman from Rehome, she sent me all those QR codes.
That's that lady who sent 15 emails and she's always popping.
She's always nagging me. What's her name?
She's been on about this for years. Yeah.
That's the one.
Yeah.
So it's really challenging, and this is the main reason. This is the fundamental reason that we went on to Dragon's Den. It wasn't about investment. It wasn't about personally being on the TV or the thrill of it. It was, this is an opportunity to get into households and build awareness. And we cannot say no to that, even though they have to drag me kicking and screaming into it. Literally.
Yeah, no, and it just sounds like a fantastic business, fantastic business to be part of. I think,
it's very challenging.
Yeah, well, I think if it was a straight line, everyone would be doing it, wouldn't they? So, good on you. I think something obviously you said, you've been doing this for quite some time, and obviously listening to the episode on Dragon's Den, I think it'd be good to talk about maybe a bit of the journey you've had with the sort of website and the development around the website. And I think, a lot of people that will be listening, they're going through this process of quite often, businesses start with an idea, and then we need a website, and we get a base website up and running. And then before we know it, we need a lot more substantial website, and then so on. Before we know it, we've gone from one order to maybe 10,000 orders, or depending on the listener. And obviously then we have to go through the process of deciding and choosing a digital partner to trust and to work with. Any advice? I think you from listening to the episode, you could probably write a book on this, Pete. But any advice you would give to those that are looking to re-platform, looking to invest more into their builds and marketing?
Okay, so this is a reflective learn, all right? Because I'm going to be really, really honest, Richard. We thought we were the nuts when we walked into Dragonstone, and we were completely blindsided. We genuinely believed, and if I'm not passionate about it, I wouldn't have been doing it for this long. We thought, this is a great idea. They're going to love it. It's not going to be right for all of them. But we didn't expect the level of criticisms that we got from Peter Jones, who was, the edit has changed it, but he pounced on us on the first questions. He was the first to start, so we were stunned, to be honest with you. And just because I had the opportunity, I will just say that in the 2.5 hours, they did cut an awful lot out, and we were in a different position with regards to the advice that we received. We received government funding for scale-ups, and that funding was to pay for experts to come into our business and analyse the best route forward. And one of those people was in charge of technology. So this person wasn't paid for. This person was supposed to be completely objective and have a very clear view on our vision and our forecasting and give us a solution that was correct for us. And we fundamentally, we believe it probably was the right decision at the time, because these decisions were made in 22, 23, when nobody was using Shopify. Nobody was using it. And I wish I knew that when I was in front of Peter Jones, because I would have said, Peter, no. I think, to be reflective, a platform isn't forever. Your platform choice isn't forever, because technology changes. It's a bit like your car. You buy a car and it's not forever, even though it costs you a blinking fortune when you buy it. Your head's turned by something that does something else. The key learn, platform isn't forever. But on the subject of Shopify, it has changed so much over the past 4 years since we were looking at platform choices, and it would be silly to ignore such passionate criticism from Peter Jones. Even though I said thank you, Peter, at the end of it, and smirked at him and thought, God, I've got a good poker face.
So what are you doing now then with the platform? What's the decision? Can you share or some of the decisions you've made?
I can share, because it's pertinent to your question. So we've gone at it this time from a totally different perspective. So I've analysed in my very pragmatic brain. Okay, we're not experts. We weren't experts in 2022, and we're certainly not experts in 2026 in technology. And I don't believe that's ever going to change. So my advice when you're choosing anything is be an expert in your own business. Yeah. You don't need to be an expert in the technology, but what you do need to do is stand firm in your questioning. And it's your questioning that is key. And that's the bit we missed. Really pushing the decision making and asking your competency-based questions of the technology you're looking for, not just for what you need now, but what you need in the future.
Yeah.
And don't be afraid to dig, or show me, how will this look?
Yeah.
As a visual proof, because you're not going to be an expert, and that can generate inertia in you. You panic, and the anxiety of having to make a choice, because ultimately, the other mistake we made was giving accountability to a consultant. Now, in our case, this consultant potentially should have been giving us the right decisions rather than wanting commercial gain from it. However, we gave complete accountability to them and went, okay then.
Yeah.
And ultimately,
so you trusted them completely, where should have probably questioned more, researched more. Yeah, and I think it's a tricky one, isn't it? I think that's what I'm sort of driving at. Is you obviously as an experienced business owner, you go to somebody that's been recommended, maybe in this instance by was it the grant company or the scheme and so forth, and they've in theory vetted these people, and then he's recommending somebody that's maybe not worked out. So you think, well, why is that the case? Should I have done this? Should I have done that? It's that due diligence, that have the people that they're recommending work with people in a similar industry. And that's quite a tricky one for you, but I would imagine, because there's not hundreds of marketplaces where there's hundreds of stores selling furniture, but not the way you're selling it, so it's trying to find if you're able to speak to customers of these people that have been recommended. I think but I think if you had to do it again, well, obviously you are doing it again, what advice would you give to the listeners around picking the right partners, the right digital partners?
I just thought of quite a funny analogy there. I agree with what you said, and that should be appropriate. But I think choosing a consultant or a technology is a little bit like choosing a life partner. You always go into it thinking it's right. You always go in. Nobody's going to get married thinking this is wrong and I'm going to get divorced in 5 years.
How many? What's the percentage of divorce in marriages in the UK? I don't know. It's probably quite shocking.
But Richard, if I was looking to get married to you, would I phone your ex-wife up for a... I wouldn't, would I? Would I get the right answer?
You'd probably find out I was a bit of a sausage if she did that, wouldn't you? Yeah. I haven't got an ex-wife, just to be clear.
And I'm not proposing to you, Richard, either.
Okay, this is a concern, Helen. This one.
But I mean, it is a really good analogy, because with best intentions, etc., when you're working with anybody, you've got. I come from recruitment, so we study human behaviour, we study the halo effect, and it's there. So if somebody is very personable with you and makes you feel heard and it's very hard not to believe them. It's a human instinct, and this is why I said my best advice is have. So this time we've gone at it with a structured approach, very structured, and we've made them work from our documentation rather than work from theirs. So we've given them not a framed scope. It's we want to do this, we want to do that, we want to do the other. This is what's important to us, and this is how it affects us operationally. So it's really important, and more of a discussion document rather than your standard business proposal. And currently it's working quite well, because we unearth a lot of information which helps with this infamous MVP, which I've never heard of until last year.
It's a journey, isn't it? Well, sort of, I think it's, we obviously we've had 150 founders on the podcast, and ultimately everybody starts selling one thing. Most businesses, and you start, and what's this internet thing? Back in the day, if it's a business that's been running for 10, 20 years, And then the next thing, we've got to make these decisions, and we meet people along the way, and mostly sometimes we have some expensive lessons, don't we, along the way. But ultimately, we sort of then start to build, as we get established, sort of trusted advisors, and maybe some advisors we don't then use again, and and building that sort of network of people that we can draw on, that sort of and no doubt you've now built and building that stronger and stronger than ever, those sort of people that you can draw on and trust. And so but quite a journey, but very exciting. And I think when I look at the website now and the offer now, obviously you've got you don't just do kitchens, you don't just offer kitchens. You've got a lot of other products showing there. How do you decide? I think that's, we talk about this quite a lot. How do you decide what other sort of categories? Have you decided, the categories, the growing the catalog and growing the offer? So maybe step through that for us.
Yeah, again, could be a book. So we used to be called Used Kitchen Exchange. So our decisions were all based on this.
Yeah.
So Used Kitchen Exchange was absolutely great for SEO purposes. Direct match, perfect, does what it says on the front.
Yeah.
But it became apparent that the opportunity for us is much broader than kitchens. Plus the fact there was controversy about using the word used. Is used a nice word? Probably not. Not when it comes to a beautiful kitchen. So that's what prompted the brand name change, was to diversify and be positioned to offer a lot more to both our industry and to homeowners. So you asked the question, what drives us? What drives us is the why. And we always look for a reason why you should sell it. That's the first thing. And the second thing is opportunity and supplies. So within the interiors industry, Rehome is set up now where we can sell anything from, an online return for a business who sells furniture or something like that, who can sell through e-commerce on the platform, and we can sell appliances, we can sell used sofas, beds, etc. But it's the whole interiors. But our key skill is dismantling as well, which is a big thing for, as you can imagine, a kitchen, bathroom, bedroom, etc. So it's opportunity based, but we do very much stick to our why. So our why is sustainability. So if it helps a homeowner financially, fantastic. And is there a sustainability story around it? And that's where we come from.
I love it. Comes back to the roots of, can we help in a sustainable way with that's, and yes, we can.
It's a guide. It's your guide. It's your compass, really.
Yeah, it's your North Star, isn't it? If you can help in a sustainable way, obviously I can see the B Corp behind you there, and obviously that's that's
they're very ugly. There's a lot there. They're very colourful when you get them, and when you put them together, they're an interior design nightmare. B Corp. Well, we've also got the Queen's Award, which I had to go to I went to Buckingham Palace on my own for that, which is very sad. Very sad, because it was post-COVID and we used to be able to take 2 people and they cut it down to 1.
Oh, that's a shame, but obviously very exciting and all rolled into one sort of thing. Yeah.
I wish my mum had seen it, to be honest with you, because she was a real royalist, and if she knew I'd walked, because when you go to Buckingham Palace, you go in the front door.
Yeah.
I thought you go in through the tradesman's entrance. You don't. So when they're getting married and you see them coming down the big steps and getting in the car, you go up those.
Wow, that is incredible, isn't it? That is incredible. Well, I feel really bad because I feel like we should do a 3-hour episode because I know. we're there. I think we've covered a lot of ground there, and I do feel that we could have done a lot. I could have questioned you a lot more there, but I think there's been some great insights. So maybe is there anything else you'd like to share with our listeners around the sort of roadmap for Rehome? Is there anything that's sort of over the next 6-12 months that you're launching, that you're excited for, that you want to share with our listeners?
I think we're planning to do more of the same. The technology with Shopify has the potential to improve our UX, which can be done in a more cost-effective way. So that is really quite an exciting prospect for us. We tweaked our brand a little bit because Stephen Bartlett was quite vocal in the den as well, even though that didn't appear on the message. But I suppose for my moment of fame, I'd like to say, when you are renovating a home, consider Rehome. Because we've chosen that name because it's a verb, and I can rehome that, or let's go to Rehome and see if we can rehome something. Is powerful. It's very powerful, although it's a battle with Battersea Dogs Home, admittedly.
Okay. It's one heck of a domain, I have to say. I do in a brand, absolutely. I really that is an absolute find, if you like.
2 years of thinking that was, believe it or not, something so simple.
Well done. We'll maybe get you on again and we can talk about that one. But I think I like to finish every episode, Helen, with a book recommendation. Do you have a book to recommend to our listeners?
I do. And I thought, this is a professional podcast.
Mostly.
But you know what? I like trash.
That's fine.
And because
you let us have the trash. Give us the trash.
It's good trash, this one. This is called Eleanor Oliphant is Completely Fine by Gail Honeyman. Now, what's beautiful about this book, and it's probably going to speak to your female listeners more than your male listeners, is it's a human story about an awkward lady who is quite isolated and had some quite serious trauma in her past, which affects how she views people. And as the story of Eleanor opens up, you then go down this journey of understanding how you can change people's lives through kindness. So people that she doesn't expect to be kind to her start to open up, and this new world opens up for this lady. And it's warm, it's funny, it's got a very powerful message of human connection behind it, but it's great to read on a beach. It's great to read in the doctor's surgery. It's great to read before you go to bed. It will make you laugh, it will make you cry, and it will make you think warm. It will make you warm. And it shows that kindness changes lives.
Isn't that a way to end? Kindness changes lives. I'm sold. I feel like I need to book a holiday just so I can read that book. It's been a pleasure. For those that would like to find out more about yourself, more about Rehome, what's the best way to do that?
So our website is rehome.co.uk, and any emails, info or hello@rehome.co.uk, and then you can find me on LinkedIn.
Yeah, well, lovely. I look forward to chatting again. Thanks, Helen. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks for your time, Richard.
If you enjoyed this episode, hit the subscribe or follow button wherever you are listening to this podcast, so you're always the first to know when a new episode is released. Have a fantastic day, and I'll see you on the next one.